Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Massive warm welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, one of the reasons I love doing this show is learning how technology is revolutionizing every aspect of our world now. When you think about the digital transformation, though, you don't automatically think of guitars. But many don't have the patience now to invest the time required to learn and master the art of playing a guitar. And the phrase guitar lessons or travelling to a class of some sort just seems somewhat of a dated concept to many people now. This is the age of self-teaching through videos on YouTube, Netflix and Guitar Hero. And this is something that Fender, the world-famous 70-year-old guitar manufacturer, is actually tackling head-on. They've launched Fender Digital, and they're leading the online revolution and modernisation of Fender with a new division dedicated to digital education, innovation, customisation and mobile learning. These new micro-learning curriculums that effectively promote muscle memory and retention actually mean that some guitar skills can be mastered in less than 2 minutes. And Fender also offer instructor-led lessons with personalised curriculums, all based on the user's favourite songs. And again, all through online learning. So as someone that is passionate about music, tech, and the fact that just about every favourite artist of mine plays a Fender guitar, I'm genuinely quite excited about tonight's show. So buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Hollywood so we can speak with Ethan Kaplan, Fender's General Manager of Fender Digital. So a massive welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Ethan Kaplan. So I'm the General Manager of Fender Digital. Fender Digital is pretty new. It's about 2 years old, a division of Fender Instruments, Musical Instruments Corp., which, as most people know, is a 70-year-old company who's made pretty much every electric guitar you can think of, and amplifiers. I run the entire digital team. We're responsible for everything from Fender.com to all of our applications, and as well as our new digital learning product called Fender Play.
Awesome. Now, obviously, I'm a big rock fan, so this is incredibly exciting for me. And like you said, Fender is a 70-year-old guitar manufacturer that has a fantastic, rich history in names that immediately spring to my mind, at least, such as Bruce Springsteen, Buddy Holly, Mark Knopfler, The Edge, Flea, Jimi Hendrix, and Johnny Marr, and so many more. But for younger listeners that might not know about that history, can you just expand on that incredibly rich story that you've got over there at Fender?
Yeah, so Fender was started roughly 70 years ago by Leo Fender in just a city south of Los Angeles called Fullerton, which incidentally is where I grew up. And Leo is an interesting guy in that he never set out to make guitars. He was making amplifiers. He was a radio technician. But the thing that Leo had going for him wasn't that he played guitar, because he didn't. It was that he listened to guitarists and he listened to musicians, and he really made instruments that responded to the needs of musicians. And that pedigree that we have, that responsiveness to the artist community and really working hand in hand with them to make the best tool set possible for them to give creative expression, that's continued since then. You know, we make a lot of guitars. We make very iconic ones, the Stratocaster, the Telecaster. You mentioned like Edge, Stratocaster guy. Bruce Springsteen's played the same Telecaster since day one. Yeah. We've made Jazz Masters, which were heavily used in punk music in the early days. Jaguars, which is what Johnny Marr plays. So we make guitars that look different, feel different, and function differently for every type of musician. I think for the younger generation, guitar has become less about the Guitar Hero, more about just everything. It's a compositional tool that can be used anywhere from hip hop to EDM to rock music, punk music, whatever it needs to be. And it kind of has permeated genres. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the instrument. It's so diverse. It's so infinite in the possibilities of what it can do. And Leo, kept it simple, kept it focused, kept it optimized for wherever the musicians needed to take it.
It really is. I mean, we could talk about the history of Fender all night. In fact, that's a whole episode that needs to be made right there. But it's not where you guys have been, but where you're going. So we're now in this mobile-first world, built on Insta stories, Spotify playlists and ClassPass. And that left me to wonder, where will the musicians of tomorrow learn to play the guitar? You know, to become the next Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton of today. And this is where I came across Fender Play, and the big reason I invited you on the show today. Because to me, at least, it feels like a Netflix of home guitar lessons, featuring instructor-led lessons with personalised curriculums, all based on the user's favourite songs. Or for younger listeners, it's like a real-life Guitar Hero. But can you just explain to the listeners what Fender Play is, and the idea behind it, and why you think it's so important?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest challenges in industry is not getting artists to play Fender gear and getting guitars on stage. We do that. 90% of the stages at Glastonbury or Reading had Fender on them. Yeah. The issue is that it's a really hard instrument to learn, and so more often than not, 9 out of 10 people that start playing guitar are going to quit within 6 months. And every year it's the same thing. You get a bunch of people starting and they all quit. And those that stick with it, that's how you get the core of music. They stick with it. They stick with it for life. So if most of our audience is just starting, can't get through it, and we can create something that helps people learn, that guides them through that first really challenging month of learning, and lets people get a win, then we make the entire business grow, and we make music grow, and we get more people with guitars in hands making that next generation of music and what the next guitar hero will be. So when we did Fender Play, we looked at not only how do we help abandonment, how do we help people through, how do we get people through, but also how people learn today. And it's not long videos. It is not songs that you have never heard of or don't sound like anything you really want to play. It's quick wins, quick videos, songs that are relevant to you, songs that are approachable, and getting you kind of through a quick reward system. And so we made you're apt in calling it kind of a Netflix for learning, in that, we made it very easy to go through, easy to consume, very short, snackable. I hate saying snackable, but that's what it is. Video that, gets you to a riff really quick. And then you get through more skills, but you have a song as your mile point. It's as your mile marker. It's not having to learn theory. And you learn the theory around the songs you want to learn, and we're trying to make sure that the songs we teach are not just the hits from yesteryear, but are new and emerging acts and new songs and things that are very different. So we wanted it to be a video companion to learning. And we have other apps that form kind of companions to that, like our tuner or riff station, that are kind of like help also the learning pathway. But Fender Play for us is like our platform to getting that next generation of player in and learning and playing guitar, and also helping those 9 out of 10 that quit get through their first 6 months.
I mean, I love how users get to embark on their own rock star journey with the option to play hits from the world's biggest superstars, such as U2, Rolling Stones, Foo Fighters, my personal favourite, The National, all of which I've seen on stage at Glastonbury and rocked out with them. But again, brings me back to that Guitar Hero for real life comparison to me. So how hard was it to get those artists involved to give a little back to the music industry?
So, we're fully cleared on the publishing side, which is what we did to stay legal.
Yeah.
Stay, on the level. But if you take an artist, I love The National too, and they have a new record coming out.
Yeah.
And it sounds great and all is good there. But if you take, the artists have to approve us teaching a song lesson. But I think what we've seen is, they're as passionate about enabling that next generation as we are. And we have songs that you would never think to go and, subscribe to a product from Fender to learn how to play I Need My Girl off a National record. But that's what you get people hooked in, because you realize you don't have to, it's a pretty easy song to learn at the basic level, and you can get it more complicated, but it's approachable. Yeah. And it's something that you're familiar with. And so that, as we've talked to labels and we've talked to artists, I think that's the part that resonates with them. And our aim is not just to have, 4-year-old songs from the National, but I would love to be teaching the stuff from the new record, and I would love to be making sure that, as new stuff is released, that we have lessons for it, so that you're playing things that you're also listening to, because that's what gets you hooked. I learned how to play Smoke on the Water. That's good. But learning how to play I Need My Girl or Everlong, that's more fun because that's the stuff that I'm going to want to play like to my kids and friends and sing along to.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you're making me want to pick it up and give it a try now. But one of the most often overused phrases at the moment is that businesses need to disrupt or be disrupted. But do you think this officially marks Fender's shift from the analogue world to the digital and reach that next generation of millennial and Gen Z players? Well, and overall, really, it's the disruption of the guitar manufacturing category forever, isn't it?
It's interesting. Fender for 70 years has been a tech company. There's no way of getting around that. Like you look at early pictures of the Fender factory and there's oscilloscopes and soldering irons and it's all circuitry and sound and how to massage sound into doing things. At the core, yes, the instrument is wood and metal and craftsmanship that has this huge and rich pedigree to it. But we've always been looking ahead. And we've made digital amplifiers for over 10 years and we have a new line of those out. And this is an extension of playing. So, while it's digital, it's a digital product. I have a lot of engineers that work for me. We have all these nice cameras and we shoot everything, and we're coding in iOS and Android, and et cetera, et cetera. At the core of it, we've always been a tech company. This is just where technology is taking us. And we never want to be the company that doesn't have something to offer a player. We make applications that are dependent on you holding a guitar in hand while you use them. So our tuner, our tone, and play are all dependent on you having a guitar. So that's automatically kind of a companion piece to something that's very physical and tactile. And I think if you look at how we design our products and how we put them to market and the voice behind them, it's all very much about playing, and it's about tactility and holding things and the kind of the physical aspect of playing, and not just about doing something digital to do something digital. We put a lot of attention into everything we've done, from how we shoot the video, how we lay out the screen, how the mobile app works, to make sure it's a companion to playing. Because I don't want people to just use a Fender app. I want them to use it while they have a guitar in their hand and are playing it actively.
So if there is anyone listening now that feel quite inspired by our conversation and they're thinking about, I want to learn how to play I Need My Girl by The National or Everlong by Foo Fighters, can you explain how they would sign up to Fender Play and exactly what is waiting for them? And also talk them through the process of getting up and running.
Sure. So Fender Play is available in native, in UK, US, and Canadian currency, but it's available anywhere at play.fender.com. You sign up for a 30-day trial. And after that, it's $19.99 US a month, and whatever the equivalent is in pound sterling and Canadian dollars. Basically what it does is when you sign up, you say, I'm an electric and acoustic player, and then you choose one of 5 genres that we offer, from folk, country, pop, rock, and bluegrass, I think it is, I believe, or blues, sorry, not bluegrass. And then you're immediately put into your curriculum, your pathway to learning. And within 26 to 30 minutes, depending on the genre, you're up and running with playing a riff. And then within a little bit longer, you're playing a song. And if you've never picked up a guitar before, the first lessons that you have are the very fundamentals: how you hold it, how you hold a pick, how you strum, how you read a chord chart. If you have picked it up before, you can skip that stuff and go straight to what you don't know. But we have a very guided curriculum that gets you on a pathway toward learning how to play songs. And you're playing a song within 30 minutes, another 20 minutes maybe, you're playing another song. And if you ever want to bounce to just learning a song, there's hundreds of songs within there that you could actually go and explore. And if you ever get stuck, we have an entire database of skills, everything from how to play every permutation of a chord, to how to strum, finger pick, and even little exercises to warm up your fingers. So we try to make it something that you return to every day. The more frequently you play, the better you get. But we also know that it's painful to get started. Your fingers are going to hurt. We have exercises to help that. We have exercises that if your fingers do hurt and you want to do single note chords and things like that, we can get you in there. So it's a pretty fun thing to learn from. Even I'm a player, but not great, and I still find it really fun to go and explore. And
it isn't rock and roll if you don't play it till your fingers bleed, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the that's I think a point of pride. Like the bloody fingers. Like you need to wear that, Instagram it, point it out. That's something you should point to. Like, you're learning guitar. Not everybody can. Everybody should.
So anyone that does sign up, how many levels are there? How many courses, and what is the average length of each lesson?
There's the average length is around 7 minutes, depending on the type of lesson. I mean, we have a very exhaustive lesson on how to play D, or the D chord. And that's even 4 minutes long. The average song lesson's around 10 minutes. We have 5 genres, 5 levels per genre. There's an average of, I don't even know what the total lessons it's hundreds of lessons and hours of footage. So we go to level 5. We'll be extending genres and extending levels as we go and adding more songs pretty much every week. So next week, if you check Fender Play, there'll be new songs added. And we have kind of we're shooting consistently so that as new songs are released, we put them in there.
Now, I know Fender Play is a relatively new service, but have you had any feedback from users yet?
Yeah, we've gotten really good feedback. People say, I mean, one of the things that I think we really narrowed down on is learning how to play is a very singular thing, usually. You either have an instructor or you're doing it on your own. Yeah. But there's a lot of beginner players out there, and so we also have a community component on Facebook for the Play community. But one of the things we heard and I really liked is that no one ever felt dumb for asking questions of the product. So a lot of times you're like, what is A7? And versus having to go ask, you can look it up in the skills database, and it's all right there. So we don't want people to feel like it's an off-putting thing to learn how to play. We want it to feel very welcoming and that you're joining a community of beginners and a community of people that just want to get into it. And so we really want the voice of the product to be that. And I think having really good songs, a very approachable lesson format, and this database of skills that's always available for you, I think those things are really key. And the feedback that we've gotten is really good on that stuff.
Now, nobody wants to be the guy, with all the gear and no idea. But what is the best starting guitar, would you think? Or would you suggest?
We have an entire line of starter packs from the Squier brand. So whatever suits your fancy. I think that if you're going to pick a pathway, acoustic guitars are harder to play than electric. Yeah. And so if you actually want, to save your fingers, an electric pack is probably the best format, the best place to start. But if you started in acoustic, it's a little bit, different style, but it could be just as fun. It's just a little harder to finger the chords. And so we make a broad variety of entry-level acoustics and entry-level electrics, and any of those would be good.
Now, you made a great point a few moments ago how Fender has always been a tech company and it's always evolved. So I've got to ask, how do you see the Fender Play service continuing to evolve over the next few years?
We'll continue adding levels and songs. We're exploring different instruments to add and getting into bass and ukulele and other instruments or instruments to come. And, we treat this as a platform for learning. It's not just a product. So it'll be continually fed with new stuff. We'll optimize, we'll add new features. We'll do more on the community development side. So it's a very iterative, growing product. The cool thing about this company, for me, most of my team is really new here. Our divisions existed almost 2 years, but most everybody's been here less than that from my side. And I'd say about half were players when they came in, but the rest of them are now players. And we've been using this product since we started developing it. And I have people learning guitar for the first time using Fender Play. And so all the feedback we get from the data, from users, from internally, as people are learning, we're putting all that in the product. And I think one of the cool things is everybody here is a user of the products we make, from the guitars to play to tune. And we all really believe in what we make. And so everything that's improving is responding to that. We're very proud of these things.
Well, a huge thank you for coming on the show today. But before I let you go, can you remind the listeners of your website and where they can sign up or just find out more information about Fender Play?
Sure. You can sign up for Fender Play at play.fender.com or just go to fender.com and click play at the top of the screen. And it requires a credit card to sign up, but you get 30 days free once you do that.
Well, I always say at the end of every episode that technology works best when it brings people together. Now, today's episode is going to get beamed to, I think it's about listeners in 150 different countries, and I hope that we've planted that seed in just somebody's head somewhere in the world to pick up a guitar and learn how to play it. And that's the beautiful thing about both technology and what you guys are doing there. So a big thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Using technology to offer personalised learning paths that enable even brand new players to master chords and riffs in minutes, all while learning to play their favourite songs, completely rocks my world, and must admit that it is a big temptation for my frustrated inner rock star that's been lying dormant for the last 20 years. And I also love how the instructors guide users through easy to digest lessons via 4K quality multi-camera video footage. And if the digital transformation is transforming how we play guitar, I think we all need to think about how we can use technology to make what we do relevant to that digital audience now. So does this Netflix of at-home guitar lessons or real-life Guitar Hero appeal to you? And does personalised curriculums based on your favourite songs make it the icing on the cake for you? Why not let me know?
Where do you listen to the show? On a walk or run? When cooking or washing the dishes? At the gym? Walking the dog? Or is the Tech Blog Writer podcast the soundtrack to your commute? Why not let Neil know by tweeting him at Neil C. Hughes, or say hello on the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/techblogwriterpodcast.
A big thank you to my digital sidekick and also Ethan for sharing how Fender Digital should now ensure that I can listen to the sound of Fender guitars for another 70 years. But if anybody does try this service, can I ask you one small tiny little favour? Can I ask that you let me know how you get on and share your experiences, because I'm genuinely really interested in how you get on, and who knows, it might give me a point in the direction to give it a try myself, and who knows what that might unleash. But I've taken up far too much of your time, so a big thank you to everyone listening today, and hopefully you'll come back next week when I've got so many more great guests lined up. But until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.